Good evening, TheoTrade. This is Corey Rosenblum, and you're watching the Theo Nightly video for the 10th of August here in 2021. And we have yet another pleased to present to you, or frustrated to present to you, one of the two, new all-time high for the SP500. That's, of course, in the S&P futures, which is followed up in the spiders, which is an ETF. It's similar to the videos last week that I had with you, which is a creeper uptrend and a creeper market to new all-time highs. These are not impulsive new highs. These are not rip-roaring new highs. But nonetheless, new highs they are. As this uptrend continues, volume does decline on these rallies, so that's something to watch in the bigger picture. But nonetheless, we trade what's in front of us, and that is a raging bull market. I say that in air quotes because it does not feel like a bull market except for the charts. And that's particularly in the S&P 500. In the NASDAQ, we still have the strength. But what I'll talk about a little later in the video is the split. And it's a big split. It is the NASDAQ, which was down 0.5%. That's your NAS. The S&P was split down the middle. That's a flat. That is a no change. But the strength in today's session was up about 0.5% for the Dow. And I think your big split in the market comes right here. From financials, we'll again come to this later, but financials were strong, up 1%. Not the strongest sector, but in the top list. And 1% was really kind of moderate in today's session. But the weakest was technology, so you do have a split. But the NASDAQ did pull back from its new high and has retraced. The Dow picked up strength and made its own new all-time high. Once again, I put that in air quotes because it does not feel like an all-time high. If you look at the news and some of the media, you might see them celebrating, jumping, or putting their Dow 35,000 or whatever number they have hat on. It just does not feel that way in the market. And of course, the Russell, if you're a small cap trader, your index remains range bound. And these are the key levels to continue focusing on. That's about 2,300 to 2,350, top of the range. And about 21 to 2150, the bottom or the lower bound of the trading range. And in today's session, what has happened, or what's continuing to happen, at least to put our attention on, is what Don highlighted in the weekly video, which is to the extent that yields, just kind of a summary from what he did, yields are traveling to the upside, that is going to boost or provide a flux of money, or at least support for prices of financial stocks. So to the extent that yields on the short term go up, financial stocks go up and they join the market at the highs. And Capital One Financial, just to name a few of some of our strongest names in the S&P 100 today, Capital One sneaks to a new high. AIG just shy of its all-time high or new swing high. Now, Caterpillar will come to that because that is an infrastructure type trade. Walmart is up there as well. And other financial stocks, including Citigroup, coming off of its support bounce. And Goldman Sachs extends to new highs, joined up by Wells Fargo and others. But the weaker names of today's session were NVIDIA. And that is pulled down, as discussed, from this 207 print. Otherwise, PayPal, which is trading a little bit lower. Starbucks comes off the highs, and then Adobe. Now, what's going on? Let's pick up the conversation with respect to financials and the yield boosting financial stocks, while at the same time hurting technology stocks. Again, short-term type of trades. This is the S&P 500. This is your Market Watch tab, Visualize, and the heat map. I like to look at this as an intraday futures trader because I want to know what's moving the market. And in today's session, it really is a split down the middle. Now, these are the financial names. Once again, it's easy to think about this in terms of financials versus tech, and that is a good framework. But there were other sectors, industrials, materials, and energy, which are grouped over here. They don't really play a big visual role. But there is energy, and there is materials, and of course some other stocks in play. But on the other side is the technology sector, which is quite, or was, the weakest sector in today's session. that did pull down the NASDAQ. So in the S&P, it is a split with the technology sector pulling down the index at the same time that other portions, including the financials, pulled up the index. And at the end of the session, we were flat. Now that is not true in the NASDAQ because it is a direct play on technology stocks. So even though there's smaller technology stocks in the broader sense, there's Moderna, which is down about 6% in today's session. NVIDIA, Apple, Microsoft, Micron, Lam Research, others were down similarly. And this is your technology sector on that continuum or thought process about higher yields are good for financials, but bad for technology stocks. So that's the bigger picture on that. Looking at the TLT, this is our tradable 10-year or the Treasury note, TLT, similar to ZN or ZB, which is a futures contract. Let's take our perspective now back to the S&P 500 with this creeper uptrend. And as always, I would not be doing my role in the videos without showing stocks making new 52-week highs. And the reason that is because we want to see which stocks in the market are outperforming the broader market. And this is just in the S&P 500. It's the key gauge. I look at this for leading stocks or trending stocks or stocks making new highs. And the thought process continues to be those which make new highs likely continue making new highs. And if you need a little bit of a bullish side or bullish delta or bullish hedge, or just outright bullish positions to your portfolio or swing account, these would be some of the names to look at because they are outperforming the index. Now the S&P did make all-time highs. These are stocks that are joining it. And I like to sort this by market cap. I tend to stay within the stocks in the S&P 100. They are not all in the S&P 100, but that is okay. Just to name a few of them by market cap, Pfizer got its break to new highs. What I want to do is provide a weekly chart on the right. And again, that's breaking out of consolidation, but on the daily chart, that is a stellar run to the upside. We do want to join these on pullbacks, not at all-time highs. These can be a good watch list to get calls or purchase positions on the pullbacks. Danaher, similar or stronger uptrend on the weekly chart. And we'll talk about Wells Fargo, a financial stock that is not making all-time highs, but clearly is making 2021, or as the scan shows us, 52-week highs. And there's Costco, which is a strong stock getting stronger despite all the headlines or what we may think about. Nonetheless, Costco is a stock, or the share, the price of the shares is continuing to the upside. And there's not really good trading opportunities to get into that runaway market, but it's a good candidate for the future. Morgan Stanley, similar. I prefer at least, more stable pullbacks or stable retracements in ongoing uptrends. And Costco just doesn't really give us that spot to manage risk. You almost have to close your eyes and buy, and that is not a good trading strategy. That is not the way we trade in terms of putting risk management or considerations of risk first. Risk being, at any point in time, the stock can and will pull back. We establish risk points or buy points or ways to consolidate or quantify risk on pullbacks, on retracements. So we do not want to join into these all-time highs. The market tends to pull back, and that gives a better opportunity. Again, these are stocks that if you want to join these uptrending markets, there are other ways to trade, of course, many other ways to trade, which would include a range-bound or consolidation tape, but these stocks are highlighted in my videos because they are stronger than the market and continue to outperform the market. So each of these new prints would represent or have represented the stock coming up on the scan list for all-time highs, target notwithstanding. And then we'll go to Capital One Financial and just look at that. This again is a financial broader sector, XLF. Of course, if you are looking at technology, that is XLK, and that translates right into the NASDAQ. As always, be careful and safe. This is Corey with tonight's Theo video update for August 10th, 2021.